Hey guys, welcome back to another video. K-Life here. Today we are going to be looking at some serious ways to grow up when it comes to building some redstone circuits. Let's begin. Alright, so the first one arguably has to be the lever. It's generic. It's a pretty simple block. I think this one's just not as much of oh, this is so old, you should use the new ones. It's more of just the fact that I think T flip-flop is a bit fancier and you can hide it in your base. It is a bit pricey for the fact that we are using two sticky pistons right here. And the repeater doesn't matter, but the redstone block's kind of pricey. It depends on who you are as a player. But as you can see, both of them work. Oops, I better show my... And if I were to place a lever on this lamp, yep, that powers it as well. Alright, now the next one has to be the daylight detector. Obviously, you can't see the difference between these two because I have my texture pack. I'll just turn that off right now. Alright, now you can see this one's actually a night detector, and this is a daylight detector. So the moral of this one is, who uses these circuits anymore? Like what I'm saying is use a night detector instead of a daylight detector with redstone going into a block, going into torch. If you're trying to detect something in the middle of the night, like that's happening in the middle of the night, it's just common sense, to be honest. Alright, let's turn the resource pack back on. Alright, so for this next one, this one's been around for a long time, so I'd be really disappointed if you guys didn't do that. But before the days of Minecraft 1.5, the only way to actually store items or from a farm was to make a water stream that would transport the items out of the loaded chunk, and then they would stay there so that they wouldn't despawn. Nowadays, it's literally just common sense to use hoppers and minecart with hopper collection systems. Please tell me you guys are, because that would just be unfortunate. Now this one's locked because it's right next to a redstone block, but you get my point. Is that just use hoppers? Now this one's pretty self-explanatory. In Minecraft 1.11, the observer block was released, and it was replaced as it was originally intended as a bud, which means a block update detector. And I'll try to explain a bit backstory. There were bugs in Minecraft years ago, in earlier releases, and basically they were for detecting updates in blocks, which is bud, blocked update detecting or detector. And so they made bud switches, which were blocked update detector switches, which were used so you could detect if a block was updated, and then, I don't know, fire a piston, turn on a lamp, make it alarm, I don't know, things like that. But in Minecraft 1.11, then this actually became an actual game, an intended game feature with this guy right here, the observer. So the point behind this one is, please tell me you're not using bud switches still. Just use an observer. It's so much smaller. First of all, it's only one block big, and you can do some pretty nifty stuff with them, and I'll show you that stuff later. For this next one, this one's pretty self-explanatory. Redstone clocks. Oh, and as you can see, it's getting nighttime. Yeah. But anyway, please, move on from these clocks if you're trying to create zero-tick clocks. This is the advantage to this clock is that you can, toggle how fast it is. But seriously? If you're still using this, first of all, it's 4x4? That's huge. 4x4x1. This one's at least 2x3, but you should only really be using these kinds of clocks if you want to set a certain delay. Otherwise, there's no reason to use it. Instead, what you should be using nowadays if you want instant clocks is comparator clocks. and observer clocks using sticky piston toggleable. You don't even need a sticky piston here. You could literally just have the observer right next to itself. So, common sense, people. Common sense. For this next one, it's also pretty self-explanatory. We have redstone lines. So before, what you could do, and you can still do this. So I'm not saying you should never do this again. Like, this is terrible. Why are you doing this? You're so dumb. Well, yeah, my point is you're never dumb. Like, you guys are always fantastic out there. My point is though, like, if you're there's literally no point in creating this kind of system if if you're fine with having like a one tick pulse going through. Like, these are great because they don't mesh with each other, as you can see. Like, the two lines are separate. If I break this block, yeah, they're separate, right? But I mean, seriously, use an observer. Like, wow, see, look at that. And also, when I was talking about the fact that observers being the new butt switches have pretty cool features, I mean, look at this. I literally made a C. They can go in practically any direction. They're like amazing. So, yeah, you should. This is one of the advantages of an observer is that there's literally no redstone here. Well, in the crafting there's, but there's no redstone here. And plus, with this kind of redstone line, you can't even go up that easily. You have to like do some nifty glass and slab tricks. Look at this. It goes all the way around. It goes all the way around. And I'll even prove it to you by pointing an object up here. See? So there's no reason you should not be using observers as your redstone lines, especially if you're going to do curves like this. There's literally no reason why you shouldn't. For this next part, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Colorful blocks. I mean, please, please, people. If you are still building on, like, sandstone and, like, even sponge, like, or something like that, or stone, like, it's just a pain.
Now, if you're going to be, like, using bits of, like, your redstone and stuff, and you need a block, it's probably best not to use the stone, but use something else like sponge. Sponge is a pretty good block for that.
To look at the redstone. Now, of course, this stone is ugly because of my texture pack. But, I mean, my point stands. It's hard to see the redstone. So, literally just pick a palette of blocks. I have all the wool colors here laid out. I have all the concrete colors laid out. And I have all the terracotta colors laid out. What a palette. I mean, just pick one of these. Place your redstone on it. Maybe not the red block. I mean, I have done it before. It's kind of weird, though. But they're so easy to look at. Like yeah, just what my point is don't place redstone on bare blocks. For this next one, this should be quite self-explanatory. You should never be using the dot anymore, as it was originally intended in 1.15 and prior. You should always, you should never be trying to use that, oh, in 1.15 this worked. No. If you right click on when you place down a piece of redstone dust, oh, I just did something I shouldn't, I earlier said I shouldn't be doing, but if you place down a piece of redstone dust, it's always this cross. If you right click it, it becomes a dot. Don't use the dot unless you know what you're doing. As you can see in this case, the dot is not powering the edge, the cross is. This is the cross, this is the dot. The dot can be useful in certain situations. Say you don't want to power something on the edge, right? Then the dot won't actually power that object. Say you don't want to power this lamp, but you want to power this one. The dot can power things only underneath itself. That's the only place a dot can power things. Nowhere else. You can connect redstone to it, and then it becomes the normal cross now. That's the only reason you should be using a dot, though. Like I said, you can use it to power things from above. Last but not least, resource packs. I mean, they're so useful, and I mean literally, so useful. You should be using them by now. I would expect you to. So, please use your resource packs for redstone. I mean, okay, it's not necessary. I'm sure a lot of you guys can make do without it. It's probably fine. I just love using resource packs that are very simple to understand when it comes to building with redstone. It's just super useful. Just use some resource packs. Obviously not in the sense that I'm trying to go for right now. What I tried doing, or actually I did, was I wanted to go for the most detailed. That's not necessarily what you're gonna want to do, but I mean, just please like use some texture packs that are good for redstone. Like I'll just show you an example with this one. This is a redstone utility pack made for the faithful. So before, if you noticed, actually the texture of the dispenser had no arrows on the side and at the top, and so that's something useful. And there's actually an arrow here too. This note block is displaying its note. This piston has little flares on the edge. This sticky piston has little like sticky particles on the edge, just to show you that it's a sticky piston when you're not looking at the front of it. This hopper has an arrow facing into that hopper, meaning that it's actually it's facing that way. This dropper also has arrows like the dispenser. The observer has arrows in the direction it's facing. This repeater has tick marks. This cross is clean. This dot is clean. This corner is clean. This straight line is clean. And this is what the wool looks like. So no grain, very clean, if that's the kind of stuff you like. Anyway, that was my short little video of things you can do to improve your redstone techniques or to improve your redstone, like to grow up. Like, please. Maybe I should stop zooming in. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe if you want to see even more Minecraft and all my other stuff. Texture packs will be in the description. And I guess I will see you guys soon. Oh, and the skin link will be in the description too. Bye.